I was not going to turn this into a video. I was going to simply screenshot it and post it up in my Instagram stories and just be done with it. But on September 6th, which was about 5 days ago, I had made a poll on my Twitter account, as you can see right here. And I asked if white supremacy could end, and the only way it would end is for black people to not watch the NFL. Do you think it could happen? 33% of the people said yes, but 67% of the people said no. Honestly, I was surprised that the yes was as high as it was as far as percentage-wise, because I was expecting it to be way lower than that. That means you have some people out there that are confident that it could actually happen. But I think the realism and the realistic approach definitely came from the people that voted no. And in a way that kind of makes me upset, but at the same time, I applaud their honesty. A couple months ago, before the season even began, I had made a similar post on Facebook. And then I had a couple people who came to the post and said, nope, they're going to still watch it and things of that nature. I mean, they might as well just say, fuck this protest. It has nothing to do with me. And unfortunately, both individuals who said this were black. They cared more about their fantasy football league or them putting money on the games and everything like that. They could just basically say fuck it all and everything of that nature because it had nothing to do with them. Black people, we have to get out of this individualistic mindset and realize that we are all one big nigga under the dominant society. What one does affects all of us. Unfortunately, in the society, we cannot be seen as an individual except when we are doing something positive. Then that's when they'll see us as an individual. Then they'll say, well, this person does something bad, then somehow we're all bad. I mean, look at what happens when black people get killed unjustly, unarmed, what have you. You'll have them say, see, this is exactly why, they get killed. This is exactly why the black on black crime rate is so high. This is exactly why they are in jail. Listen to the words that they use. They. They didn't say this is why this person got killed, or that this is why this person got arrested, or that's why this person so-and-so. They say they. When they say they, that means more than one, even though they is not present. It's just that individual that was present. You got to really pay attention to how they speak. And when I say they, I'm talking about them as a collective, because that is true. Look at all the stuff that they see. See, I can speak at it from this standpoint because I make these videos and I see some of the comments that they leave on my videos when I speak on certain topics. And then sometimes when I go to other forums, I see the stuff that they say. A lot of people don't listen or pay attention to the stuff that their enemy is saying. They would rather just tune it all out and pretend it doesn't happen until it happens to them. And I think that's one major flaw that we as black people have. We have this, well, if it's not happening to me, then I'm not worried about it mentality. And we have to really step outside of that box and realize that whatever happens to another person, even if we don't know them, can happen to us as well. I even see a lot of people now are starting to side eye Colin Kaepernick because of the whole Nike deal and things of that nature, and saying that Nike's playing this game and everything of that nature to get and drive in more black business. Well, let me tell you something else. Ford just hopped onto the Colin Kaepernick bandwagon. But guess what? How many black people do you see riding around in those dusty ass pickup trucks that Ford loves to promote? It's mostly white folks that drive those. And a lot of them want to drive around ride around in them, and they dirty as fuck with those filthy ass Confederate flags hanging on the back while they saying yeehaw and riding around in sawed off shotguns and shit, who doing God knows what with God knows who. But like I said, when I saw these results, I wasn't surprised that the no was as high as the yes, but I was surprised that the yes was as high as it was. I'm like, is it really that hard for some of our people to not watch the games? Now, I will say this. If you are a person that watches the highlights, meaning the highlights they're most likely going to show the next day, that's not contributing to the ratings. The ratings only are contributed to when it's a live broadcast. But some people cannot pull themselves away from these games to save their life. I don't know what it is. It's like an addiction. You know how I like to talk about the opioid plague and how that's a strong addiction, you know, for white folks in their community and whatever it is they got going on. For some reason, the NFL especially, or athletics as a whole, well, mostly the NBA and NFL, that's black people's addiction as a collective. Mind you, the NFL and the NBA ain't putting no money in their pockets. They're putting all their money into their pockets, though. The NFL and NBA are going to become rich off of them. Even if you don't go out and even if you say, I'm not going to go out and buy any NFL apparel or NBA whatever, guess what? If you're watching their stuff for free, you're contributing to them ratings wise. Why? Because the ratings on those networks, that's what they need. And the NFL gets paid off of you viewing as well. And that's what they're banking on. I just got done watching a video from the one of VZ, and shout out to him, by the way, on his Peckerwood Punishment TV. And it was talking about are we the reason for the protest anthems declining? Because some people have said, well, I feel like mission is accomplished. Colin Kaepernick is now getting paid again, so maybe now I can go back to doing what I was doing. No, it doesn't stop there. It does not stop there. It's an ongoing thing. I'm convinced that most black people don't know how to boycott anything, let alone know the definition of the word. Maybe y'all need to take a page from the book of our ancestors and see how it's done. Because when they did that bus boycott way back in the day, they did not ride the bus for an entire year. They walked to work. And I'm very sure some of them, their feet was killing them. Because then when they got to work, they had to stand on their feet all day and then walk back home. And they do it the same way the next day. And they did it for a year. And what ended up happening is the bus system has started losing money. Why? Because they were relying on that black dollar. Because a lot of white people back then, they didn't have to take the bus. Many of them had cars. Black people back then, they could not get approved for those nice cars. They were lucky if they got the rinky-dink car. And what ended up happening is they not only caused the bus system to lose money, but it actually helped the black people save money, and they were on the verge of starting their own bus line system for themselves, where they could sit anywhere they wanted to on the bus, the front, the middle, or the back. But then the dominant society got a hold of that and said, no, that's actually one of the things that contributed to integration. See, it was when black people withheld their money. And when you withhold your money, you withhold your power, because the power is in that money. And when the palm-colored Neanderthal started to feel like they were losing that power, they had to do something. That's why I said integration was probably one of the worst things that ever happened to black America. Ever. You see what it's done as of late. You have a lot of black people nowadays who think that they're in, but they're not in. They're still out. They don't even have one foot in the damn door. Not even a toe. But they live in an illusion that they are there. That's what a lot of these goddamn Sambos and Coons think. They think that they're in. And all they do all day is sit on Twitter. And I'm not going to say no names, but y'all can pretty much use your imagination of who I'm talking about, because there's plenty. I can stand here all day listing a whole bunch of names and just peddle everything that 45 says, literally hanging on the hair of his ass crack, day in and day out, peddling bullshit. One of them peddled some shit that 45 said, and he ended up losing his verified check mark on Twitter because of it. Those of you who watch True Royal Family know exactly who I'm talking about. Then you got some of them goddamn coons who gotta sit up there and talk negative about every little thing they said. I'll give you an example. One of them, I'm not gonna say their name, had the nerve to say that LeBron James can't face racism because racism is a poor person's problem. He said Oprah doesn't face racism. I said bullshit. I said she faced racism overseas a couple of times because they didn't let her in their stores because they claimed to not know who she was. It was questionable to me because who doesn't know who Oprah is? LeBron James had nigger spray painted on the side of his house, but he felt that because LeBron James lives in a nice house in a nice neighborhood that it wasn't an issue. They spray painted nigger on his house. How much more racist could you get on a surface level, you dumbass? And by the tone of my voice and who I'm speaking about, y'all should know who the hell I'm talking about right there. I can't bring myself to even say that bitch's name. And he is a bitch. He always has something to say about LeBron James, or he has something to say about Colin Kaepernick every chance he gets. He literally thrives off of that. He's literally like the damn TMZ of sports. All he does all day is gossip and wear that goddamn small ass fedora on his fat ass head. Now y'all know who I'm talking about if you didn't know before. But anyway, black people, and there's a lot of black people that love to say, well, I'm trying to get it right because it's something they love to say all the time, and I hate it. Well, that's why they look at us this kind of way and everything like that. Be that as it may, I don't give a damn how they look at us. We could be doing extremely successful and they'll still look at us any type of way. They always have. It's because of who we are. But if I wanted to go with that notion, the reason why they would look at us kind of some type of way is because we're not serious about whatever it is we supposed to be standing firmly on. Like this. It's like we stuck to our morals briefly, but then once it seemed like everything started to go our way a little bit, we backed off of it and went right back to the fucking plantation. That's exactly what happened during integration. When we was segregated and we had our own shit and we was doing our own thing, we were good. But then once they wanted to bring in integration and then say, well, now white people are ready to share with you, but behind the scenes, we're only giving you a little bit, but we're going to still be pulling the strings. But we're only doing this because we're trying to save our bottom line, because if we don't save our bottom line, then we're going to get toppled over. That's what they were saying but in the small print. But then we had to hand over all our stuff. We either shut down businesses or we handed over the resources straight to them. Just like sheep being led to the slaughterhouse. It's really sad. It's like history is blatantly repeating itself. And I'm not up here to sit here and tell grown ass black folks what to do and what not to do. But what I am going to say is this was the ultimate test, or is the ultimate test, to see if we have some kind of willpower. Not watching the NFL should be one of the easiest things for you to do. But see, the thing is, a lot of people cannot let it go. They're like, okay, I won't buy this NFL apparel. I won't buy that NFL apparel. So that should be good enough, right? No. When you do a whole boycott of something, you have to boycott it all, not just the portion you think is convenient for you. The thing says, if white supremacy could end today, and the only way it would end is for black people to not watch the NFL, do you think it could happen? 67% of the people said no. That means if this was really applied, that means white supremacy would never end. It would keep going. If you was to send out an alert today with this and say white supremacy could end after the season is over, but you have to stop watching the NFL, you'll have some black people out there that will probably say, okay, I can do it. Then you have some black people out there that will be undecided and say, oh, I don't know. But you'll have the majority of black people say, fuck this shit, it ain't even real, I'm gonna keep watching. Okay. You know, they call those pawns on the chessboard, and you know on the chessboard, the pawns are the first to go. Unfortunately, the black people, a lot of black people, you know, are pawns. It's too many of us that are pawns. We don't have enough rooks. We don't have enough knights. We barely have any kings and queens on that chessboard. Just nothing but a bunch of pawns. And it's crazy, I don't know how to play chess like that, but I know all the pieces. And unfortunately, I know which piece the black community or black society, however you want to put it, belongs to. We better tighten the fuck up, seriously. We really have to. And even though this poll was opinion-based, I'm almost certain that these results wouldn't be that skewed if it wasn't opinion-based. And it had 57 votes. It probably would have had a lot more if I had hashtagged certain words like NFL, Colin Kaepernick, protest, national anthem, American flag, soldiers, and stuff like that. But it is what it is. and the votes are anonymous, so I don't know who voted. Probably most of my followers and supporters. But that's all I really have to say about this. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links to the shirts will be pinned down below. I'll talk to you in the next one.